You're tuned in to the Daily BS.
Do you believe it?
Sports and culture combined into one.
Michael on the drive across the lane. Turnaround shot. Got it. 63 for Jordan.
Are you kidding me? He did what?
The Daily BS begins
Bazinga!
right now.
Great googly moogly.
Hadouken!
Hey, this promises to be fun.
Can't wait.
Well, hello there. Welcome to the Thursday edition of the Daily BS. And I got a good show lined up for you. I was supposed to play some Bronze Sexual Confessions on Wednesday. Didn't get a chance to due to technical difficulties. You'll hear that. You'll hear from my buddy Greg Peterson. I got a take on Jimmy G and the 49ers. And Mike Debate will close up shop. And I got a few other odds and ends for you. So sit back, relax, and strap it down. It's the Thursday edition of the Daily BS coming at you right now.
In a world where partial greatness is celebrated and total greatness is shunned, there stands to be a figure on the lips of those who love him and those who hate him. The inane comparisons to Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant continue and has existed since 2003. There is no end in sight, for the battle between those who unconditionally love and unconditionally hate him wages on. These are their stories. Welcome to the Bronze Sexual Confessions. Well, LeBron still leads in the NBA All-Star Game voting. Trailing him is Luka Doncic of the Mavericks. That done. So it looks like it's closer and closer coming to the point where he's going to be one of the captains for the All-Star Game. As he's been the last 2 years. On Saturday, you had LeBron James play the Rockets, and he inserted his will second half, and it was to the point where he was on the free throw line, and chants of MVP rang out throughout Toyota Center. Road game, and you heard MVP chants. Oh, he bricked the second free throw. But that's besides the point. And along with leading in the All-Star voting, he also leads the NBA with sales. He has the most popular jersey and merchandise. Oh, and also in a loss against the Magic, LeBron James was happy as heck for Markelle Fultz, who seemed to have a rough time of it when he was a Sixer. Now it seems to have righted the ship with the Magic, as in that win against the Lakers in the Staples Center, Fultz scored a triple-double against them. And since we're speaking about Lakers losses, MVP chants on the road in Houston, a molly-whopping in TD Garden at Boston. And another record fell. This one, Kemba Walker. Now, imagine this. Every time Kemba Walker played a LeBron James-led team, Kemba took an L. 28 times Kemba has faced a LeBron James-led team, and he's lost. Against LeBron James, LLL. 28 of them. Until Monday night, when Kemba got his first win against LeBron in that molly-whopping that the Lakers took out east. All right, that's the news. Well, look at one more thing. So Conor McGregor, he seems to look like he's turned a new leaf, especially in his conditioning, and he credited LeBron James with that. And he actually said this, quote, I actually said this to Tony Robbins, right? Because I read something about LeBron James a while back, about maybe a year ago. He spent $1.5 million annually on his health, his everything, his nutritionist, and I spent nothing. Only in camp I bring a team together. And that's not the way to do this. But I drop money on a bleeding car or a watch. I'm like, spend on myself, my health, my fitness. That's helped me. Then you acquire more. You're going to acquire even more then. Close quote. Well, in response to that, LeBron said this, quote, "To be in all honesty, I play the game and I train my body. I put the work into my body to hope and inspire other athletes around the world, other great athletes. If I'm able to rub off on Connor and other athletes that feel like it's beneficial to them, I think that's a pretty cool thing. It's humbling for one. I take my body very seriously. I'm just trying to maximize my career and see how long I can continue to play the game that I love. It starts with the body, it ends with the mind, and if the mind is sharp, then you can go a lot longer than you may think. That's what it's about. You've got to be disciplined. It's all about discipline as well." Close quote. All that's wonderful. And I agree with all of what LeBron says, but I had this conversation with a Bronsexual, and he put up this stat, one that is often put up. LeBron James has played in 10 first-round series, and he has lost none of them. He is 10-0. He is undefeated in first-round series. Michael Jordan, his first 3 first-round series, LLL. In fact, not only 3 lost series, but only 1 game won all 3 series. And mind you, they played the best of 5 in the first round then. And I don't mean 1 game he won in each series. I mean 1 game total. That was the first 3 years he was in the playoffs. The next 3 years he faced the Pistons. So, I should say the next 4 years he faced the Pistons. So, it was not a cakewalk for Jordan to get to where he got. But the goal is not to win a first round series. The goal is to win the whole thing. And so I put this to a Bronsexual. If you're a salesperson and you have 9 tasks that your manager says close that deal, but you only close 3. But you got another salesperson who has 6 sales to close, and he closes all 6. Guess who's making more money for his company? Not the one with 3 closings, the one with 6. And you can hate that all you want. The fact of the matter is, the man who brings home the gold more is the more valuable piece. Exclamation point. And you can say, well, I guess that means that Russell is more valuable. Okay, maybe so. Maybe so. But my criteria, and I will say it at another time, rings only? No. And I never justified Jordan being better than LeBron or any other player by rings only either. But to continue to justify that LeBron is better than Jordan because he has won more first round series than Jordan has, that's partial credit. You don't get full credit from partial accomplishment and achievement. What you have to understand and ascertain is that you can have these minimal achievements. It means absolutely bupkis. If you can say at the end of your journey, you are the best at what you do, that is what matters. Jordan has said that 6 times. LeBron has said that half as much. And sure, he has played 3 more finals than Jordan, but Jordan has won 6 of them. LeBron has lost 6 of them. I'm just putting it out there as just straight facts. So before you come to me and say, well, LeBron is better than Jordan because, well, LeBron has won every first round series he's played in. Meanwhile, Jordan, his first 3 series, he got swept in 2 of them. You can miss me with that. Because that's not the total story of either guy. Tell the whole story. And then I can ride with you. But if you're going to tell partial stories of either guy, you can miss me with all of that. In a world where contradiction and hypocrisy exist, lies the truth to set us all free. Here is where we all get enlightened. This has been yet another installment of The Bronsexual Confessions.
Brilliant. That, of course, was Cole Johnson and the Bronze Sexual Confessions. I was supposed to run it yesterday, but due to some technical difficulties, I didn't get a chance to. But, yeah, I'll take 6 championships over 3 championships any day. I've said that for as long as LeBron has been in the league. If you have a chance to close a deal 6 times and you close it all 6 times, as opposed to a guy that had a chance to close the deal 9 times and only gets 3 of them, yeah, guess who's making just a wee bit more money for the company? Guess who's making a wee bit more money for his family? That's right, the guy who closed 6 deals. And Jordan closed 6 deals. Now, if you want to talk just strictly rings, the greatest of all time will be that of Bill Russell. He closed the deal 11 times. Robert Horry closed the deal 7 times. And he's had a hand in all 7 of them. Just like Jordan's had a hand in all 6 of his titles. Okay? Just like Magic Johnson's had a hand in all 5 of his titles. If you get a chance to close the deal and you close it, you're going to get more recognized. But you still have these bronze sexuals out here, and Lord knows I deal with them too, just as Cole Johnson does. You have these bronze sexuals out here, and I'm going to have Cole Johnson on here in a couple of moments. You have these bronze sexuals out here that just think, hey, you know something? LeBron's the greatest because he's passed Jordan with a lot of stats. He hasn't passed him in championships. How about that? Pause for a break, and then Cole Johnson will join me. And I promise I'm going to keep this conversation to a minimum. Back in a flash. Now, the uproar is that Jeter was almost a unanimous Hall of Famer. But unfortunately, due to one lousy vote, he's not a unanimous Hall of Famer. And I really don't care if he's a unanimous Hall of Famer or not. I really don't. And the reason being, a man who played 20 years with the New York Yankees and was the face of the franchise, and for all that he's done in bringing 5 championships, part of the core 4, being Jeter, Jorge Posada, Bernie Williams, and Mariano Rivera. Well, Derek Jeter, El Capitan, as he was named by Yankees radio broadcaster John Sterling, is a Hall of Famer, period. He didn't get the unanimous vote like his teammate Mariano Rivera did, but in all honesty, being the pure baseball rat that I am, who cares? Number 2 has been retired by the New York Yankees. No one will ever wear that number again, and no one will ever duplicate what he did on the baseball field for 2 full decades. And his last hit was a walk-off hit at Yankee Stadium. Or his last hit at Yankee Stadium was a walk-off winner against the Baltimore Orioles. I remember that game very well. They won that game 6-5. And you couldn't write a better storybook ending. Of course, they ended the year in Boston that year, 2014. And now he is on his way to Cooperstown, New York, and rightfully so. With all that he's accomplished on the field, as mentioned, bringing 5 titles to the Bronx. And for Derek Jeter, his dream was to play for the New York Yankees. And for 20 years, he got to live out that dream. He had some up years, he had some down years, but mostly up. And in that case, I'm not letting the uproar about the fact that he didn't get unanimously elected cloud the fact that he's in. Derek Jeter is in the Hall of Fame, period. So 2 members of the core 4 are in Cooperstown. Mariano Rivera, who is to date the only unanimous selection into the Hall of Fame. And that part kind of surprises me that Mariano became the first unanimous selection. It didn't surprise me that he got into the Hall of Fame for all he did as a closer, using basically only one pitch. But at the same time, I thought the first unanimous selection would be one Ken Griffey Jr. But I digress. Joining him in the Hall of Fame is one of the lefty batter that had one of the sweetest swings, and one of the members of the Montreal Expos and also the Colorado Rockies, Larry Walker, switch hitter, gets into the Hall of Fame as well with 76% of the vote. He had over 300 votes. So congratulations to Larry Walker in his 8th year on the ballot, and one of my favorite players that I love to watch. But getting back to Derek Jeter, as was announced by the famous Bob Shepard, you just couldn't, for two decades, you just couldn't see a Yankees lineup card, unless he was injured, without Derek Jeter in it. Sometimes he bat leadoff, sometimes he bat second. You know, it's hard to chronicle all of what he has done and all of what he has meant to the New York Yankees and to baseball. Regarded as the greatest shortstop in Yankees history. As mentioned, 396 of the 397 votes. Jeter was in his first year on the ballot. And of course, you got to wait the 5 years. He retired in 2014. And he spent his entire career in Yankee pinstripes. A 14-time All-Star, 5-time Gold Glove winner, 5-time World Series champion, and the 2000 World Series MVP. A .310 hitter for his career, 3,465 hits, good for 6th all-time. The Yankees selected him with the number 6 overall pick in 1992, and he arrived in the big leagues in 1995 for 15 games before winning the American League Rookie of the Year in 1996. He hit .314 in 157 games in 1996, and that was his first World Series championship as the Yankees defeated the Braves in 6 games. Brian Cashman said in a statement, quote, "Thanks to Derek, we've reached the pinnacle of the baseball world 5 times, and he will forever be a defining player of this generation. Congratulations on an honor well earned," close quote. He was raised in Kalamazoo, Michigan, named the Yankees captain in 1993, and he was their first captain since Donnie Baseball, Don Mattingly, had the honor in 1995. He became the Yankees' all-time hits leader in 2009, surpassing Lou Gehrig's mark of 2,721. 2 years later, in a moment that no one will ever forget, including this baseball rat right here, he joined the 3,000 hit club on a home run off David Price. And that day he went 5 for 5 at the plate. As mentioned, his final at-bat at Yankee Stadium was a walk-off single. Across 158 career postseason games, I'm reading from the New York Post, he recorded a lifetime batting average of .308. And he was known for his clutch play in October. Michael Kay dubbed him Mr. November because of his walk-off home run in 2001 to give the Yankees a 3-2 lead in that series. 2017, they retired Jeter's number 2, and he was rewarded with his spot in Monument Park, and now he stays in New York with his spot in Cooperstown. And I saw Derek Jeter make some plays that he had absolutely no business making. None. How the hell do you... His jump throw was a thing of beauty. I saw him get to ground balls he had no business getting to. I saw him get hits he had no business getting. And he was the stabilizing factor in not only their 5 World Series championships. They went to the World Series 6 times in that span. They only lost in 2001. They made the playoffs damn near every year, and he was in it. It's like you couldn't talk MVP voting without including Derek Jeter most years. Derek Jeter is synonymous with the New York Yankees. Derek Jeter is synonymous with everything that era of the New York Yankees, what it meant. The three-peat, 96, 97, 98, the World Series in 2000. And remember, in the clinching game in Game 5, he began that game with a home run. So who cares if he didn't get the unanimous All-Star, unanimous Hall of Fame vote? I beg your pardon. He's a Hall of Famer, period. As far as Larry Walker is concerned, the versatile outfielder narrowly made it to the Hall of Fame, and I mistakenly said he was in his 8th year of eligibility. It was his 10th and final year of eligibility. He cleared the 75% mark with 304 votes by the Baseball Writers Association of America. It completes an up-and-down ride for the Canadian slugger, who debuted by receiving 20.3% of the vote in 2011, and he bottomed out at 10.2% in 2014 before his candidacy picked up momentum. His candidacy was burdened by the fact, and I'm reading from USA Today, that he played in the hitting haven of Coors Field. Who cares? He played baseball and was damn good at it. Walker said on the MLB Network, quote, "I get the arguments, trust me, and I'm okay with them. There's negativity to everything, and I can handle it. I'm a big boy. But 76% of the writers didn't agree with that, and I'm as grateful as can be," close quote. Congratulations to Larry Walker. He is the first Hall of Famer to have played a game for the Rockies. And what a climb to the Hall of Fame it was. He was a legitimate 5-tool player early in his career, and he had the making of potential stardom in Montreal, where he won 2 Gold Gloves, a Silver Slugger Award, before the 1994 strike pulled the plug on the greatest team in Expos history. They were 74-40 at the time, and they were flying away with the National League East. He was the National League MVP in 1997. He had 2 more top 10 finishes, 4 All-Star appearances. But everyone wants to make the argument that, well, he played in Colorado. Coors Field is a hitting haven. Who cares? That's what I say to that. Who cares? His batting average and on-base percentage were better at Coors than on the road. 384 at Coors Field, 346 on the road. And this is from 1997. He hit 49 home runs. 29 of them came on the road. A rocket arm, steady glove, across the board all-time offensive greatness. I loved seeing Larry Walker play. Loved seeing him play. Walker says, quote, "I had the numbers in my head and I was prepared for no call. And then the opposite happens, and that call comes, and suddenly you can't breathe," close quote. Well deserved for both players to get into the Hall of Fame. Listen, make the argument that you want that Larry Walker's stats were padded by the fact that he played at Coors Field. the fact that he played baseball for as long as he did, he got an MVP, he got some Gold Gloves and some individual awards. He was a part of a Montreal Expos team that I believe would have won the World Series, and I think they would have faced my beloved Chicago White Sox in that World Series in 1994 had the strike not ended it. But two very worthy players, very worthy, are now in the Hall of Fame. And old Snowman couldn't be happier because being the old school baseball rat that I am, these are two of my favorite players to watch play. And when they played against my team, I hated them because they were so damn good at getting the key hit, getting the key out, getting the key play. So congratulations to Derek Jeter and Larry Walker. Silky Larry Walker. I remember that home run call from the Expos. Congratulations to both. They will be enshrined in Cooperstown this summer. That's Snowman's take. What's yours? Okay, folks, I know I've had this man on a lot, but he's a very dear friend. Cole Johnson has returned, and we're just going to dive right in because I'm going to ask you to selfishly tell me how you came up with the VIP honors.
Selfishly, huh? Well, thank you again for having me on. I appreciate every time I'm on the show. And it was literally one cold January day, the first anniversary of Cold Sports, and the proper anniversary of the show is January 5th.
Okay.
So, I was looking at all the landscape and I think this was around the time you heard a lot of podcast prognosticators and gurus say, you should always celebrate your milestones in a huge manner. And so I said, okay, I'm going to try this out. So I created this award theme show, but it didn't really go off right. Mm-hmm. And it originally was called the Dolt Awards because, almost everybody that I accosted that first year said, that segment where you just run athletes down? You mean the Dolt of the Week? Yeah, that one. Yeah, that's the one I wait for, man. I love it when you do that. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, then, heck, I'll dedicate a whole award show to that and make it an anniversary show. So I did that. And when you do an idea and it sounds good or it looks good, but like you definitely hear a lot of athletes say this, that you see a lot of places left on the field of points that could have been scored that you left. Yep. That's sort of how I felt. So I went back to the drawing board, and the very next year I said, okay, I'm going to, because the first year was just all me with some sound effects too, but it was just all me. So I said, all right. And then I caught on to audio drama, and I was on a few audio dramas. And basically audio dramas are, you get a chance to voice a character. Yes. And you have these drama shows where you might have 5, 6, 7, 8 different people on an episode. Mm-hmm. And so I said, oh my gosh, you mean to tell me I could have done this all along? Why don't I actually do an audio drama set to an Academy Award show? Nice. Bing! So 2 years ago, I set out to do it. And I had the format all completed and did what I had to do, and of course it sounds totally different than my regular show. Mm-hmm. And I played in front of 3 people before I even premiered it, and their jaws hit the floor. They said, "You did all this? I said, well, I didn't do all this. I didn't voice all the stuff. I just got all the people together and, you know, and yeah, you had your presenters, you had, you had the red carpet. I put this all together. I said, man, this is a masterpiece. This is probably one of the greatest pieces of work I've ever heard. And I wish I was bragging, but that is exactly what they told me. All three of them. And I said, okay, I'm on to something. So I'm not going to call it the Dote Awards. So I said, what can I call it? Oh, why not make it a dedication to the fans? Well, I don't call the people who follow my show fans. I don't really consider them fanatics. You can be fanatical about stuff, so am I, so are you. But
yes,
I don't want to insult people or fans by calling them a fanatic.
Right.
So I want to treat them special. And I always think that anyone who appreciates anything that I do, they're very important people. Hence the term VIP.
Yeah.
So I said, why don't this be basically what was then a 90-minute, now it's a 2-hour. Why don't it be a 2-hour thank you letter sent to audio to the fans, to the VIPs.
Mm-hmm.
So hence the name, VIP Honors. And then I started, then what actually was the cherry on top of Sunday, I was like, well, why don't I do this exactly like the Academy Awards? You have the people who present, and not only do they say the quote award nominee, but you have them play a certain part of that particular episode or that particular segment to accompany that. I said, oh, done. And I had never heard that before, and I still, even I've done this now too, and this will be the third time, I still haven't heard it done since.
You won't either.
And that's how the VIP
brilliant.
Was born. Yeah.
It's absolutely brilliant. Well, I had a chance to voice a segment of that last year. Thank you for that. Get to do it again get to do it again this year. When you came to me with that, I knew I could have fun with it, and I totally did. Good.
Because I said to myself with you, I said no. And I mean, right after I said I want you to actually do the one role that I thought you would like to do, I was like, you know something, scrap that role. I think he could do something else, and I think it will even be even better. And it will take, and I think quite as kept, it actually will take a little pressure off of me. Because that would be one less thing I would have to do.
Exactly.
So why don't I do that? And the moment you said, "Shit, are you kidding?" Yes, I'll hop to it. I'm like, wow, okay, cool.
Yeah.
But I was like, it was twofold. I was like, whew, less work for me. And then I get to hear a guy that I know can easily do this, flex his muscles the appropriate way.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, on air, I will say thank you for doing that. I really appreciated what you did.
I appreciate you having me involved in it. And I have to admit to something. Since you started doing the Bronze Sexual Confessions, and I know we're only 2 parts into it, but since you started doing the Bronze Sexual Confessions, I have laughed my head off every time. Because we basically do it on air almost every time I have you on, and then you bring the facts with it as I do. And I have to tell you this. I had a conversation with a bronzesexual. Yep. Yeah, I dealt with one. Aren't they fun to break down?
And look, and for those who are actual LeBron James fans who actually have it in perspective, look,
right.
Fandom. Look, I do not pull punches with that team. When they screw up, I point it out, and I have no qualms pointing it out. And I have no qualms when someone else points it out, because it upsets me and infuriates me as a fan of the team. I know of LeBron James fans like that. My brother-in-law is like that. So I don't have hatred towards, not even hatred. I don't want to poke fun at him because he actually gets it.
Exactly. The ones that truly get it and truly listen, I don't poke fun at them, because they understand. Just like, as you said, they point things out to me about my team, and I follow 3 of them in the NBA, the Bulls, the Spurs, and the Warriors. When they point things out to me, they give me a fresh perspective on who I follow, and it's like, okay, now I understand.
Yeah.
I truly understand now.
Yeah.
But
so
you have let's define the term for those who are tuning in for the first time. A bronsexual is a fan of LeBron James who sees everything through rose-colored glasses.
Woo.
And
with a 2 and a 3 on it.
And B sees LeBron as doing no wrong.
I could not have made a much more succinct definition of a bronsexual than that. and when I first was accosted with this, I had to do a double take. I'm like, you mean to tell me you get riled up and upset that I can come with something critical, not hating, just something critical of the guy.
And factual.
And factual. It blew my mind. It took me aback for a moment. But after seeing it for so long, and now, especially since he's been a Laker, I mean, it really snowballed when he became a Cap again. But when he became a Laker, we talked. I mean, I stepped in sports room on social media. I've seen it on Twitter. I've seen it on Instagram. I've seen it on Facebook, and I've heard it in conversations in barbershops. Every day, a conversation about LeBron has to be made. I don't know why, but it is. I mean, it could be August, where there is no NBA whatsoever. At least you have the excuse of June with award shows and the draft, and July with the free agency. August, there's nothing. There's nothing NBA related. People will have full-blown arguments and conversations about LeBron James in August.
Yes, they will.
and I said, are you kidding me? You mean to tell me y'all don't take a break from talking about this guy?
No.
So
you know the answer to that question.
Yeah, the answer to the question is definitely no. And so I said, you know something? I'm going to have my own fun with this. So once, humble brag for real, once my show became nationally syndicated, I said, you know what? I need to come up with a segment that really will knock people's socks off. And I need to have the right title for it. And so I was like, I got a perfect segment. A segment where I talk all LeBron James, and I don't do it at any other time whenever the show airs except for that particular show that week. And so I was like, this is even better. I can stockpile stuff and just only talk about him for 10 to 15 minutes a week. And get all of my LeBron stuff out. Perfect.
And get it out the way.
What am I going to call it? And get it out the way and don't have to worry about it.
Exactly.
So I make it like today. I had my bronsexual confessions show happen today. I don't have to talk about it for another 7 days. Thank God. So I got that out the way, and then I said, okay, I've got to name it something that it's real catchy. I was like, okay, I can't say LeBron James something, but bronsexual. Okay, sorry. So what I'm going to do, bronsexual what? Bronsexual Chronicles? No. Bronsexual Files? Yeah, it's okay, but nah. And for some reason, I don't know why, I had the clip. I don't know how well versed you are in R&B, but I had the clip of Usher's Confessions video playing when I actually mentioned this.
I am quite familiar with that.
I was like, and just basically the beginning, when Usher says, really, Don't play with me. Put that on everything. I wanted to climb into that moment when I came up with that, with what I would talk about each week, and now it's like, settled. Braun sexual confession.
Yes.
And it's going to come at it from the aspect of, I just put facts on facts on facts. And if it comes off entertaining, oh well, cool. If not, oh well, cool. But I'm just coming with facts on facts on facts and calling people out on how idiotic their worship, and I will go so far as to say their worshiping is of this guy.
It is worship. And this one, folks, when I listened to it and later played it on my show, I was on the floor laughing. And the way you put it was so great. If you're a salesman and you had a chance to close 9 deals, but you only closed 3, and then the other guy has a chance to close 6 deals and closes all 6, who do you think they're going to pay attention to more?
Yeah. You've done sales, I've done sales.
Yes.
So you already know the answer to this question without even blinking an eye.
I don't have to bat an eye for this.
No. And it's just pure fact. This isn't even trying to talk crap about the guy. It's just pure fact.
It
is. It's not
is.
even talking crap about the guy. It's really throwing proper shade and giving proper perspective to the fans of this guy.
Yes.
And it's like when you wake up and start giving partial achievement to something that this guy is wanting the ultimate ring every time he goes on the floor. Do you think this guy wants to be 3-6 for a finals record?
Mm-mm.
Do you think that? No. So why are you saying, you know what, that's okay, LeBron. That's quite all right. You lost 6 championships. You went to the championship series of the NBA each year. You got 3. Look, 33%, that's a good percentage. You don't have to win it all the time. It's just so good that you're there in June. I don't even think the guy wants to hear that crap. So why are you going to pacify him by saying you don't need to win the whole thing all the time?
And it just enables him even more to be even more passive.
Right.
It just enables him even more.
And that's my number one gripe about about LeBron in general.
Mm-hmm.
Is this dude is 6'8", 6'9", 270. You mean to tell me this guy can't dominate the league? If you can give me he's 35, he's been in the league 17 years. Cool. Wonderful. You mean to tell me this guy with this specimen can't dominate the league? When I mean dominate, I mean like what Shaquille did in 2000, 2001, 2002.
Mm-hmm.
You mean to tell me that LeBron, who has still to this moment not put forth that type of performance,
no.
I can point to someone who no one considers him as great. And I could say, look, Shaq, he was the number 1 man 3 years straight.
Mm-hmm.
And why do I say that? He has 3 rings to prove it.
Yep.
And he was the number 1 guy on the team. Yes, Kobe was there with him, and Kobe showed out too. But Kobe would even say I had to defer to that man because he was the most dominant player on the court.
Yeah.
And I don't mean on the court when we played. I mean on the court, NBA basketball annals, period.
Yeah.
LeBron can't say that. And I'm not even talking about Jordan. LeBron can't even say, I put forth 3 straight championships. He can't say that.
He hasn't been able to say that. He hasn't been able to say that for 17 years. End of story.
His NBA career.
He has not been able to say that for 17 years. And I've had Braun sexuals argue with me saying I would take going to 9 straight finals. I would take going to 6 finals and winning the MVP and winning the world championship all 6 times before I take 9 straight appearances. I'll take 6 wins in the NBA World Championship Series.
And this actually might be my next Braun sexual confessions.
I'm giving you a layup.
So if you say I'd be happy to go to 9 straight finals, okay. Why don't you ask Jerry West that?
There you go.
Because he went to many different finals in a row. He went to 9 finals in total. You know what his record is? 1-8.
1-8.
And you talk to Jerry West to this moment.
Yep.
He will tell you, I'm sick to my stomach that I only got 1 ring as a player.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sick to my stomach. I have a whole lot more respect for Jerry West than for LeBron, because LeBron is like, well, at least I make it there. And my fans, he didn't say it this way, but I get the feeling he comes across with this energy.
Mm-hmm.
My fans say it's all right because, look, they love me regardless. The competitive fire should be the fact, and this is the vibe I get with Jerry West. The fact that I came up and I had a talented team around me, and I put forth 27, 6 and 6, the same total that Allen Iverson ended up with in his career. I put up 27, 6 and 6 for a career. I only have 1 ring to show for it. That's 1972.
Yep.
And I kept bumping into the Celtics and getting whooped by them each and every other time I lost. Well, in one to the Knicks in 1970. So, I mean, it's just, that is what I'm looking for with LeBron. We never saw that.
No.
And
we never will see. More to the point.
And you won't see it.
You
right.
won't
and you won't see it.
You won't
see it.
I'll mention a player. I'll mention a current player right now that has the same competitive fire as one Jerry West and shoots like Jerry West. Does the name Stephen Curry mean anything to you?
Man, look, even when he would play against the Rockets and he would hit those shots, I'm like, this dude, how is it that this shot is so butter? and then what I love too, last year it came out that dude needed to have corrective vision. I'm like, you mean to tell me he was shooting blind like that? I'm like, get out of here. You mean to tell me he had astigmatism on the court and he was still shooting at a high clip from 35 feet? No,
yep.
no. Forget it.
I mean, that corrective vision led to 33 in the second half in a closeout game.
23 in the fourth quarter.
23 in the fourth quarter in a closeout game. Have you ever seen LeBron have that kind of a closeout game? No, not when it counted. And the first round analogy was terrific. I've always said this about MJ and the old school players that preceded him. They always had to have a progression. LeBron has had his stuff handed to him for 17 years.
And what sucks about LeBron's journey is that he had his progression right before him.
Mm-hmm.
He had it. It was building to that point where many of us old school NBA player fans of guys like that, his script was even forming itself to be like, you know what? This guy got kicked in the teeth. He got punched. He got gutted. He got disrespected. He shrugged it off. He said up yours to that team in response.
Mm-hmm.
He overcame them. I mean, his story was close to that. And he met up with champions before him, and he was getting the attaboys from them, the Tim Duncans of the world, the Kobe Bryants of the world.
Yep.
You know, he was like, okay, he's next. You know, he's getting the stiff upper lip.
Mm-hmm.
He now has the team that he can actually overcome in the big three for the Boston Celtics in 2008. So I'm like, man, it is setting up for this guy.
Yep.
2009 or 2010.
That was his progression.
That was his progression. I'm going to be the guy, and here's how I'm going to show that I'm going to be the guy. And it just seemed as though in 2010, I think 2009 took a lot out of him in terms of.
Yep.
I put forth all of this and I lost. I didn't even get to the championship series. I lost in the conference finals. And the reason why I could be hard on LeBron like that was Hakeem Olajuwon had similar years like that.
Yes.
Where in series he would put up 40, 45, 50. He would have lines like 45 points, 15 rebounds, and 3 block shots and 4 assists. More than capable of being the best player of the 10 on the court.
Mm-hmm.
But the next highest score would be 6, 5, 7. and it would and he would be so frustrated. He's like, I'm putting forth my all, but the other teammates aren't putting forth their all.
Right.
And it got to the point where, and I got the frustration from him, but it got to the point where he turned almost into a brat. But he had a talk with, I forgot who it was. I think it was John Lucas.
Mm-hmm.
Had a talk with him. He got settled down. Then 1993 happened where he, in that moment where he could have had that same explosion, he didn't.
He didn't.
Met up against a wonderful Sonics team where they were evenly matched. It just was the fact that Sonics had home court advantage.
Yep.
And the Rockets almost won that series. Went to overtime. The Sonics won. The better team did win that series. But Olajuwon was different. He was like, okay, you know what? I put forth my best shot. I got dogs with me. I know that I know they have my back. I got theirs. I'm gonna learn this lesson.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna come back better.
Yeah.
2 championships. 2 years later, 2 championships later, and he's considered the best center of all time, if not one of the best centers of all time.
Yeah.
He's one of the best champions of all time because of his approach. And LeBron could have had that same type of approach.
It was right there in front. It was right there in front of him.
Yes.
It was right there in front of him.
That is what makes me frustrated about LeBron. That right there, it was there for the taking, and then he let all of that mentally weigh him down. Miss me with the Delonte West mess.
Yeah.
Miss me with that. I'm just talking about on the basketball court.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there was no question in 2009, 2010, and yes, Kobe fan, you may diss me for this. I don't care. It's just the truth. LeBron was athletically. Kobe has it all over him with IQ. But athletically, LeBron was the best player on the court.
Yes.
Period.
Yeah. Yeah. Give you that.
And when you see a guy who has that type of prowess, that type of talent, not fulfill it as a as a sports fan, as a pure sports fan, it's infuriating.
It is infuriating.
And so climb into the minds of myself and climb into the mind of Brian for a sec. When you saw athletes like, for me, Olajuwon and Earl Campbell,
yes.
for Brian, Walter Payton, and Michael Jordan.
Yes.
And I can go on and on, and I can go on and on with you. We saw athletes like that who they didn't whine about anything, they didn't complain about anything. They were like, you know what? All I need to do is be the best teammate I can be. I know I'm the best player on this team, but I know it's about team, and I'm going to bring us as close to champions as I possibly can, if not get us one.
One of the best examples I can think of a guy who did that for so many years and yet didn't get a chance to live out his championship dream is Frank Thomas. Frank Thomas was the cornerstone for the White Sox for 16 years. And yet because of a horrific injury and a nagging injury, he didn't get a chance to play in the 2005 World Series. But he was one of the first ones to get that ring. You can't tell me Frank Thomas didn't mean that much to the Chicago White Sox that they brought him back as an ambassador. He's on Comcast Sportsnet. He's on the MLB Network. He's a Hall of Famer.
And well deserved.
He's my favorite modern slugger is Frank Thomas. The first time I saw the Big Hurt hit a home run and that back leg was off the ground, that is now part of the Chicago signature. Walter Payton carrying the ball out wide and still protecting it. Michael Jordan's fadeaway. Frank Thomas's swing. Taves and Kane. It's a Chicago signature now. What is LeBron's signature? He doesn't have one.
No. And what's sickening is there's moments where it could have been that. Like with Jordan, even though the 63 in the Garden doesn't hold as much reference as what he did 5 years later. And it shouldn't, because that 63 in the Garden was in the first round.
Yep.
The big time moment was raising the Larry Bryant Trophy for the first time in his career, and even probably 2 weeks before that, vanquishing the toughest foe he ever had,
the Detroit Pistons,
probably in his life.
The Detroit Pistons.
So, I mean, when you see this, LeBron had he had that opportunity where he could say, you know what, that 2007 Eastern Conference Finals, yeah, I scored 25 straight points, and I took the team and put them on my back and had that moment where I brought us to a spot where we could go, and we just didn't have the horses that year.
Yep.
But years later, I learned a lot from what I did right there and what I did wrong there, and I channeled it.
Mm-hmm.
I built on it.
Yep.
And I got better, and I got better and better, and it fueled me. That really didn't happen, and people could say, well, I mean, heck, LeBron did win his championship 5 years later. Yeah, he did. True. Yeah. The one thing that neither one of us can dispute is LeBron James, no matter what we can talk about with him, good or bad, he's a champion.
Yes.
Can't dispute that.
No.
That's indisputable.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the issue that Brian nor I have. The issue that he and I have is, where is the perseverance? Where is the perseverance? Where is it that dogmatic spirit, that stubbornness of, I know I can bring a chip. I'm in Cleveland. I know I can bring a chip in Cleveland and don't have to leave the city to do it. That is what we see missing with LeBron.
And we've seen it for his entire 17-year career. And in case you don't get the message, Cleveland, he's left you twice.
And if you didn't get that message, just look at the games he attended while he was in Cleveland. And I'm not talking about Cavs games. I'm talking about Browns games and Indians games. Until the second stint, when did you ever see him wear anything Browns or anything Indians?
You didn't.
You didn't.
And he really showed out. And he really showed out when he went to a World Series game in 2016. Figure that one out, folks.
Yeah, he did show out. He showed out. He was happy. I don't know why. That's why.
Yeah. Get out of here. I'll talk to you another time, man. Thank you, brother.
All right,
appreciate the time.
No problem, man. Peace.
That's that for the Thursday edition of the Daily BS, and I want to thank you all for joining me. Don't forget to follow Snowman Digital Media. I will be back tomorrow with another edition of the best in sports talk, the best in culture talk, and we put the two and combine them into one. It's the Daily BS every day at this time, heard on your favorite app or your favorite station. Until tomorrow, God bless everybody. I'm out of here.